A sunny day in Kelvingrove is a joy, really. I remember coming here in 1979, a really hot day, coming down to the bandstand with my small daughter, just a few months old, listening to some great music. And I think that's typical for many people who live in the area. The bandstand is just associated with those good times.
The setting is just superb. You look around you, you know, the trees and the river and so on. It's second to none.
It went from kids to your granny. It just was right across the board. And it was the most safest and warmest environment to bring someone on a beautiful summer's day.
Something about Kelvingrove Bandstand, it's this natural acoustic, and even putting rock bands on, the noise is all contained within that bowl of an amphitheatre.
Since the building fell into disuse and disrepair, there's obviously been a lot of local parties and groups very interested in getting it back up and running.
After 30 working older buildings, there's more of a challenge. Plus you're restoring our history. Well, I've had quite a lot of people, I want to chat to me, ask me what's happening to it, tell me that they played here, or they used to come here when I was a kid. We had a lady in from Aberdeen, she was telling me her mother played in it 70 years ago.
My mother was a soubrette, which means comedian, dancer and singer. The folk in these amphitheatre seats would have trouble hearing you at the back. She said they should be able to lip read you. You articulate, and they should, if they can't hear you, they ought to be able to lip read you. My first memories of the park are that it was always full of people. I used to take all the kids in the street, prams and all there, and I certainly went with my dad. I would think it was a Sunday afternoon, to see the brass bands, because he absolutely loved the brass bands, and they were always there. It wasn't an occasional thing. It was always going on.
Brass bands were very, very popular back in the 30s, 40s and 50s. I played as a hobby for the RNVR band, playing the cornet. First of all, we had a programme of music that we would play, but we wanted to involve the audience. So a crowd pleaser would maybe be a Jolson song, or a Scottish song like the Bonnie Banks of Loch Lomond, or Scotland the Brave.
I've been going to the bandstand since I was a teenager. I was taking pictures of some of the events, and then I started to help organise events as well, especially some of the rallies that we had in the early 80s with C&D and Youth C&D. The rallies were really well attended. This was the start of the 80s. You had Thatcher just been elected to government, and people were really quite angry. And we had Trident just gone up to the Clyde as well, so people really were quite angry about this. So you got a mixture of people being against Conservatives coming to power, but also it was punk age, it was new waves age and things like that. So it was a great venue for bringing people in to hear about the issues that are going on, but then we also got great music.
I was down here probably about 25 years ago. I was down here at a concert. I didn't come down to go to. I went to the park, and I heard the concert on. I came down. It was mobbed.
Coming up a little later. The past couple of hours, we've been putting live inserts out on Clyde 1FM.
My first gig was doing the Friday Rock Show on Radio Clyde. They started putting on these free music festivals here at Kelvingrove. It tended to be folk and traditional music on the Saturday and rock music on the Sunday. And I had the honour of comparing it on a number of occasions.
When Kelvingrove took place, everyone who was involved was just absolutely joyous. The crowd, the atmosphere, I don't think ever matched anybody else in any other festival in Glasgow.
It was kind of strange because you remember the movie The Warriors at the very start when they have the big meeting, the big powwow about what they're going to do. Well, that's what the crowd was like. I mean, if you looked out, you saw like, oh yeah, there's long hair over here, and there's dreadlocks over there, and it was just all these kind of like little pockets of people, and you could tell who they were there to see.
You had such a huge crowd. I mean, you can see just looking here at the capacity of the venue. The fact that it was free, it was a wonderful atmosphere.
The key to the free music festivals was the bands had to be performing original material.
We had a band called, it's gone out of my head.
Chow Parrot.
What were they called again?
The name Chow Parrot. A Chinese meal with a chow with it was a parrot in it. But with French cuisine, so it was chow parrot.
Well, this is Martin McKenna, who was Eggy Beard. I'm Bob Donaldson. I was Monica Zab, amongst other things. He's a violin player. I played bass. There was a threat to the bandstand. We were asked to come and play a benefit concert for it. We came in dressed as Arabs, I remember at the time.
We came in our friend's car, here hanging out the windows dressed as Arabs. And she brought the car round the corner here. She hit the corner of the bandstand with the car, and there was folk looking at us thinking, what the hell are they doing, because it was absolutely freezing.
The third time, it was a 10-year anniversary since the first concert here, and Tom Russell was the host, the MC for that.
I think two of them came on in dresses.
One of them came on with a monkey mask, I remember.
I quite enjoyed them, but the majority of the crowd didn't.
A few wee boys decided it might be an idea to throw some empty bottles at the stage. And that wasn't so good, because one of them hit my guitar and exploded.
You either did your craft and did it well, otherwise Glasgow, the people of, were going to let you know.
I remember being up here, had a full face of makeup and Superman blue hair, and I'm quite comfortable with who I was, and there was a little knot of heavy metal fans, and they detested us, and they were lobbing apples and anything they could get hands on. I was just kind of dodging them and carrying on as you do. It got so bad, this one particular guy, it looked like he was foaming at the mouth. He was questioning my sexuality and a lot of other things, and eventually it all went really quiet, and there was just this kind of haranguing from him, and I thought, enough. So I just went, you! What are you going to do for a face when King Kong wants his ass back? And the whole place just erupted, and it broke the ice. Even he smelled and his pal smelled, and it kind of settled down a wee bit after that. So that was the sort of thing, but that's Glasgow for you, and that's allowed,
Over the years, it became a venue that kept pace with culture and music and the arts, and all through its life it had that function within the city.
I think working with historic buildings, one of the nicest things is about that layering of history. So we have been able to preserve more of the building than perhaps we anticipated.
These are all original. They've not been moved out of place at all. They've all been left in the original places.
My son played on the bandstand in 1992, and now they've got the sunshine. It'd be great for him to come back again, perform.
Bandstand can be very important for a city as a place that people can live special moments of culture together.
The bird that never sang, the bell that never rang, the fish that never swam. I make the patterns for lots of cast iron things which you'll find around Glasgow and Scotland. This particular job, I had to recreate Glasgow's coat of arms. There's an awful lot of really interesting stuff around the city to look at. And I guess I'm quite lucky that I live here and I get to see quite a few jobs that I've made around the place. So the crest at the bandstand here, I'll get to walk past it quite regularly and have a look at it.
One of the best projects I've actually been on. And hopefully there'll be many more. Hopefully I'll be one of the first on the stage. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Again.